Go, what's the word, YouTube? It's your boy Rongloo. How y'all coming, man? We back with another reaction video, man. Hey, man, today we reacted to Chicago, man. Chicago, my city to rack, man. We reacted to all these gang murders that happened within the midst of this year. Because, bro, I ain't gonna lie, for like being from Chicago, like making these videos, react to these videos, and living here, it just give me like a whole nother, like, how I say, for like, it give me a whole nother perspective, for like, I could come over here and I could tell y'all how shit really be in real life besides the video too, like, you know, because the video can only tell a motherfucker so much, you see what I'm saying? But like the reality of how this shit be, man, you gotta really be from here or live here to really know like how this shit go. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoy the video, man. That's enough for me out, man. Make sure to leave a thumbs up if you new. If you enjoy the video, subscribe, comment, all that shit, man. Let's do it.
A city of nearly 3 million people, thousands of streets, hundreds of neighborhoods, and stories unfolding every single day. But in the opening weeks of 2026, a disturbing pattern began to form. In less than 2 months, a series of killings spread across the city, from Gage Park to Austin, from Roseland to Logan Square. Different victims, different neighborhoods, but the same brutal outcome. Some were attacked inside parked cars, some were ambushed on open streets, and one was killed inside a home where he was supposed to be safe. Tonight, we're following the timeline of these incidents, case by case, to understand how the first weeks of the year turned into a deadly stretch of violence across Chicago. January 8th, 2026, Gage Park. Late on the night of January 8th, a shooting outside a Kentucky Fried Chicken in Chicago's Gage Park neighborhood turned deadly. Around 10:30 p.m., a vehicle was parked near the restaurant on Southwestern Avenue. Inside were three men, including 19-year-old Isaiah Antonio Sandoval.
I think I heard about
locally
this,
as Fazo D. An individual approached the vehicle on foot and opened fire directly into the car. Multiple rounds struck all three occupants. Sandoval suffered several gunshot wounds and was transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he was later pronounced dead. The other two men survived but were left seriously injured. One 22-year-old victim was shot in the abdomen and back, while a 41-year-old man suffered a gunshot wound to the lower torso and was taken to Advocate Christ Medical Center. Authorities believe the shooting occurred within territory associated with Ace Block, while Sandoval himself had ties to the Clover D World set of No Love City 042. The shooter.
Damn. So basically, that shit happened really like that shit happened in a KFC, folks. Like, damn. That go to show you, like, folks, this shit don't matter. It don't matter where you at, what time it is, none gang. Like, you gotta be on your P's and Q's. This go for anywhere in the United States, folks. It ain't just Chicago, folks. Like, anywhere it was gangs. Anywhere was gang politics, street shit going on, man. Like, you got to be on your P's and Q's, for. And I'm talking from a civilian point of view. You see what I'm saying? Like, imagine you at KFC. Let me put it like this, for. Imagine you at KFC, for. You finna go eat good. You probably got your family with you. You see what I'm saying? Y'all just out late night, finna get some KFC, finna eat good. Ain't thinking too much about it, you feel me? Finna get some KFC, go home, cut on something on the TV, you feel me? And you in line waiting for the KFC, and the motherfucker just get the shooting right behind you. And the whole time they shooting at a motherfucker that's in the car next to you or behind you or whatever, you know? So it's like, well, you gotta be on your P's and Q's, bro. Like, I be so caught up in like just scenarios, for like, I don't even know. Like, it's hard to explain it, like how my mind be playing shit out. Like, I just be thinking a certain type of way. That's just me being from Chicago, for like, motherfucker got a different type of, I ain't gonna say it's paranoia or no shit like that. It's just more so like, it's just motherfuckers just want to know, like, observations, just want to know like what's going on around me, how I can quickly move around, you feel me, like shit like that, for. I ain't gonna lie, because it be too much going on in Iraq, bro. It be too much going on.
Fled before police arrived. Area 1 detectives continue to investigate, and no arrests have been announced.
This morning, one person is dead, 2 others are in the hospital. Chicago police say they were shot inside of a parked vehicle last night at 58th and Western. A 19-year-old was shot multiple times and died. 2 other victims were seriously hurt. Police say they're looking for one shooter, and so far nobody is in custody.
January 10th, 2026,
Damn.
Avalon Park. 2 nights later, violence struck again on Chicago's South Side. Around 10:20 p.m., 35-year-old Randy D. Curtis, widely known as Rilla, was in the Avalon Park neighborhood near East 85th Place when gunfire erupted. Curtis was struck multiple times in the back during what investigators believe was a targeted attack. He was transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center, but doctors were unable to save him. Rilla had long-standing ties to the 051 Young Money Collective and had been known in local drill circles for years, including appearances in early music releases such as the 2013 track They Mad with 757 Snoop. Family members later shared tributes online, remembering him as a central figure in their lives and in his neighborhood community. Police have not identified any suspects in the shooting. Public arrest records show that Curtis had prior encounters with law enforcement as well. In 2014, he was arrested after police reported he attempted to flee during a traffic stop and was cited for driving without a license, operating an uninsured vehicle, and several warrant-related violations. More recently, in January 2025, he was arrested again in Chicago and charged with aggravated unlawful possession of a weapon in a vehicle. Detectives continue to examine the circumstances surrounding the attack.
New overnight, Chicago police are looking for the person who shot and killed a man in Avalon Park on the south side.
At this point, the year was only 10 days old. 2 men had already been killed in separate shootings across the city, but the violence wasn't slowing down.
I bet, fool. That ain't nothing new. This shit I get down here, fool. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
For the next several weeks, the pattern would continue. Cars turning into crime scenes, arguments escalating into gunfire, and entire neighborhoods waking up to the sound of police sirens. And by mid-February, the list of victims would grow even longer. January 18th, 2026, West Pullman. The pattern continued on January 18th in the West Pullman area. At around 9:30 p.m., 37-year-old Troy M. Hollingsworth, known as Chills, was sitting in a vehicle on East 118th Place when someone approached and opened fire. He was struck several times and pronounced dead at the scene. Hollingsworth had connections to the Cranktown community and had recently been focusing on creative work as a videographer and photographer, documenting life in his neighborhood. Police records also show
that shit be tragic, folks. He was already past the young nigga phase. You know, he 30. It say right here he 33. Folks was trying to change his life around, but it's sad to say, the streets don't give a fuck about that. They don't. Like, they don't give a fuck, boy. They don't give a fuck. You could be a nigga that ain't changed completely. You can go to church, how you a family, all type of shit. If you still reside in the city of Chicago, if you still reside in the trenches, if you still be moving through the trenches, even though you changed your life around, you still in that shit, gang. So it's like, ain't no escaping that shit. The only way literally to escape is to move away. Get the fuck away. Get far, far away. Don't even be in the same state. You feel me? Like, that's the only way, like, only way a nigga could escape the streets is if he move, like, physically move. Like, see, that's the thing too, like, some niggas, I be peeping, some niggas mindsets to escape the streets, like, they'll be thinking and moving differently, but as far as the environment, they'll keep it the same. They'll keep all the familiar shit. They'll still be going to the same restaurants, still be eating at the same places, talking to the same hoes, still mingling and dabbling in the same places, you feel me? Still kicking in the same hood, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, you ain't really changed shit. You might be doing different shit, you know, you might not gangbang as hard no more, but you still reside in the same places, bro. So it's like, motherfuckers could easily find where you at, you know? But like, bro, niggas gotta understand, gang. You can't be in a city of Chicago being a street nigga, a retired street nigga, and you ain't moved. Like, you gotta move.
Hollingsworth had several prior arrests. In 2021, he was taken into custody on a warrant-related charge. In 2023, he was arrested again and charged with aggravated unlawful use of a weapon for possessing a loaded firearm without a valid FOID card. Just weeks before his death, in January 2026, he had another arrest involving possession of cannabis and a traffic violation. His death marked another loss for the group early in the year. No suspects have been taken into custody. January 30th, 2026, Austin. Later in the month, the Austin neighborhood saw a daytime shooting that claimed another
The fuck map this is? This nigga got a Texas map? That ain't Austin.
life. Around 11 in the morning, Pierre White, 35, known as Peasy, was standing near his vehicle when an argument reportedly escalated into gunfire. The other individual involved produced a firearm and shot White multiple times at close range. Witnesses reported seeing the suspect flee in a red minivan. White was transported to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he later died from his injuries. He was known locally as a longtime member of the Money Over Fame collective. Records show that White had a long history of arrests dating back to 2014, including charges related to cannabis distribution, reckless conduct, domestic battery, criminal trespassing, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and possession of firearms by a convicted
been in
felon.
jail since
Detectives
forever.
continue to search for the suspect and the vehicle involved. January 30th, 2026, West Garfield Park. Just hours later that same afternoon, another fatal shooting occurred across the city. In West Garfield Park, 38-year-old Vico Coda, associated with the Poppy Gang community, was shot multiple times near South Pulaski Road. He was taken to Mount
Pulaski,
Sinai
that's right in the
Hospital,
trenches.
but later died from his injuries. Police records show Coda had previous arrests connected to narcotics offenses, including possession of heroin and possession with intent to distribute controlled substances, and incidents dating back to 2021 and 2022. In January 2026, he had also been arrested shortly before his death on additional heroin possession charges. Unlike several other cases during the same period, officers responding to the scene were able to detain a 22-year-old suspect and recover a firearm. Investigators are continuing to determine the exact role of the individual in custody. February 3rd, 2026, West Town. On February 3rd, a shooting involving a motorist unfolded in Chicago's West Town neighborhood. 32-year-old Torian Terrell Walton was driving when gunfire struck his vehicle. A bullet hit him in the chest. He was transported to Stroger Hospital, where he later died. An autopsy conducted by the Cook County Medical Examiner determined the fatal wound had entered through his back. Walton, originally from Avalon Park, was known among friends as a member of the Pig Mob Collective. Police have not announced any arrests. February 4th, 2026, West Garfield Park. The following morning
day
brought
right
another
after,
fatal
folks.
shooting
Crazy.
in West Garfield Park. 31-year-old Willie Ellis, also known as Ray Ray, was standing outside when several individuals approached and opened fire. Ellis was transported to Stroger Hospital, but later died from his injuries. He had connections to the Dow Gang Collective and was known across the Austin area. Police records indicate Ellis had numerous previous arrests going back to 2014, including failure to appear in court, firearm possession by a felon, drug possession, gun offender registration violations, and charges connected to the distribution of fentanyl. The suspects fled on foot.
They just hit him straight with a switch. They just hit Lil Homie
No,
with a
they ain't
switch.
got this on video, bro. I know they lying.
2026, South.
Bro, what type of sick, weird motherfucker doing, like, recording a motherfucker while they laid out? Like, bro, niggas be tweaking, gang. I ain't gonna lie.
Deering. On February 5th, police
Hey,
responded to a residence in the South Deering neighborhood after a man was discovered fatally shot inside. The victim, 29-year-old Kenneth Davis, known as Lil Kenny, had sustained gunshot wounds to the face and shoulder. Emergency responders pronounced him dead at the scene.
Damn.
Davis was associated with the LAFA collective. Previous records show Davis had earlier arrests, including criminal trespass to vehicles, possession of a stolen vehicle, and several traffic-related violations in later years. Investigators believe the shooting occurred inside a home within his own neighborhood. Police have not released further details about how the suspect entered the residence. February 6, 2026, Roseland. Early the next morning, gunfire once again erupted on the far south side. Around 4:30 a.m., 29-year-old Antonio Thomas, known as Tonio, was standing near an intersection in the Roseland neighborhood when a vehicle pulled up. An individual inside the truck fired multiple shots before fleeing. Thomas was found at the scene and pronounced dead. Police records show that Thomas previously had an arrest in 2019 for criminal damage to property under $500. He was known within the Princetown community. Detectives are attempting to identify the vehicle involved. February 9th,
Yeah, the
2026.
hunters get like that. The hunters, That's why I stay far away from out south in general. The hundreds, low end, it don't matter where the fuck I'm at. I try to stay far away from out south, bro. Like I really do, bro. Cause as an out west nigga, it's a whole nother atmosphere, bro. Like it's a whole nother atmosphere. As soon as I go to out south for, I ain't gonna lie. Like if you know, you know. If you from the city, you know. Like you be like, damn, bro. Like me and motherfucker don't even know the streets, cause the streets different from out. Like out south got their own streets, bro. Like some of the out south streets stretch to out west, but it's a bunch of them bitches that don't. So it's like unless you using a GPS, bro, you don't know where you going for. I ain't gonna lie, you don't.
Austin, on February 9th, another fatal ambush occurred on the west side.
You need to fix that
25-year-old
map.
Sincere Riley, known as Tasky, was standing near West Lake Street when a black
I think I've
SUV
seen
pulled
this.
up nearby. Two individuals exited the vehicle and opened fire. Riley was struck multiple times and
Damn.
later died at Mount Sinai Hospital. He had associations with several local groups, including Tonytown, Waller Mob, and HRYM. Public records show Riley had multiple arrests dating back to 2018, including drug possession, heroin distribution charges, unlawful firearm possession, criminal trespassing, and cannabis-related offenses. Police continue searching for the suspects and the vehicle used in the shooting. February 14th, 2026, Logan Square. The most recent case occurred on Valentine's Day. 17-year-old Antez Lambert, known as Lil Splat, was inside a residence in the Logan Square neighborhood when a gunshot rang out. He was found with a fatal gunshot wound to the head and rushed to Mount Sinai
think I've
Hospital,
seen
where he
this.
later died. Lambert was a young member associated with the 757 Collective. Detectives continue
757,
investigating
yeah, I heard
the
it.
circumstances of the shooting and have not announced any arrests. February 25th,
Bro, that back door
2026.
shit be crazy, bro. I don't know. That seemed like a back door. If he died inside the house with nobody caught, like, I don't know, bro.
7:12 p.m., the Woodlawn district turned
Crazy.
into a kill zone. Dispatch started getting flooded, shots fired, multiple people down. The center of the chaos was the BP gas station on the 6600 block of South Stony Island. When the first units touched down, they found an 18-year-old male unresponsive on the concrete with a gunshot wound to the skull, but the lead was still flying blocks away. Almost simultaneously, a shot-up Sprinter van, window shattered, driver's side door riddled with
Damn.
holes, pulled up to the Engine 63 firehouse on 67th and Blackstone. 3 more teenagers collapsed out of that van right in front of the firefighters,
Damn,
bleeding
3?
out from hits to the legs and back.
They ass
The
getting
18-year-old
busted,
caught
boy.
in the head at the BP was Javel Foster, known in the trenches as Lil V. While he was being rushed to UFC Medical in critical condition, CPD was already in a high-speed pursuit. A gray Hyundai loaded with shooters was tearing through the south side. During the chase, the offenders ditched 3 pieces near 68th and Normal before bailing out at 65th and Stewart. They tried to run into a building to lose the heat, but the perimeter was set. Multiple suspects were hauled into custody. As the
Damn.
yellow
They
tape
thought
went
they got
up,
away.
the digital scanners went crazy. The street started talking before the shell casings were even collected. Word on the apps was that Lil V and his circle weren't just victims. Rumor had it they were on a mission to slide when the play went left. Some whispered about a setup at the gas station. Others claimed it was a case of friendly fire in the heat of the moment. Nothing was official, but everyone knew this was another chapter in the war involving 95 Mob and 808 against their rivals over at Bloodhound, Shorty Mob, and Risky Road. The disrespect didn't wait for a pulse to stop. Before
These dumbass little boys be so quick to post and troll. So quick to post and troll. Look, folks trolling right here. He's talking about, do he look dead or alive? Like, these little niggas be sick in the head. Like, sick, gang. They think this shit, like, but I could see how this shit be, man. Cause you know, from the outside looking in, you don't really know what a motherfucker seen and been through. Like, for a shorty to be this young, 14, 15 years old, and finding murders and death like something that's not scary and cool to talk about and troll and play with, it's like you gotta wonder like what have a motherfucker been through. Like these little motherfuckers be going through some shit out here, boy. I ain't gonna lie, like so. But it's just dumb, for like, why do y'all have to hop on the internet and troll though?
For a little vibe,
Making the
even
police
took
job
his last
easier.
breath. The trolling reached a fever pitch. Opposing sets jumped on IG Live, laughing at the situation, mocking the headshot, and making jokes about
Let's go. You did the right thing. You knew you was finna.
GoFundMe pages for funeral costs. They weren't just dissing a rival, they were celebrating a score. New slang terms started popping up overnight, turning a teenager's tragedy into a social media punchline. Lil V fought for his life for an entire week. Doctors tried to stabilize the damage, but the streets had already claimed him. On the 7th day, the news hit Javel Foster was gone at 18. The confirmation only made the energy more toxic. The trolls went harder, the diss tracks started circulating, and the bloggers began warning about the inevitable get back. In the Woodlawn cycle, one loss demands another. Behind the screens and the bravado, a mother was left mourning a son who became just another statistic in a city that never stops bleeding. The streets promised him a name, but in the end, they only gave him a date on a headstone. The cycle remains unbroken. By the middle of February, the list had grown to more than 10 names, different neighborhoods, different backgrounds, but each life ended in a matter of seconds. Some of these cases may eventually lead to arrests. Others may remain unsolved, becoming another file in a long history of violence that has shaped parts of the city for decades. For the families involved, the headlines fade quickly, but the loss doesn't. And as 2026 continues, investigators are still searching for answers in many of these cases, because behind every police report and every crime scene is a story that ended far too soon.
That's crazy, bro. For real.